that we would go to church and he would see like a hot woman and he'd be like, "Hello, ladies. My name is Nicholas and I am in heat."
Oh, no.
It would make me laugh so hard.
Anyway, here's the new sexy intro. We're rolling.
We are?
Yeah.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm going to say welcome back.
Welcome back, people.
This is officially the second podcast episode. And our first podcast, either whenever you're listening to it, dropped last week, or whatever date is listed on that streaming service that you were watching. That is the last day it was dropped. So this is the second one. I'm Colin.
And I'm Christopher.
And welcome to Prone to Ponder.
Thanks, everybody, for coming back. It is...
I hope you came back.
Oh, man. Okay, so let's really quickly...
Yeah.
Let's talk about what it was like yesterday. We didn't expect the podcast to be out until Thursday.
Yep.
Today is Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and the podcast came out late Tuesday.
Was it yesterday? No, it's today. We dropped it this morning.
The podcast came out
no,
yesterday
you're right.
night.
It did. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So what was that whole experience like for you, for like the whole, podcast coming out and everything like that?
Well, I remember we filmed it, and then he was like, "I'm going to edit it, whatever." And then I was working out at the gym on Sunday, and I had about like 20 minutes.
Get all the burps out, bro.
I'm going to get dumped for this one. So I was listening to it on Sunday, and I remember I was lifting, and I was laughing audibly at our own jokes. And I was like, "Wow, these guys are good." I was like, "Oh, wait, this is us." And I was like laughing at the gym about it. It was so funny.
We don't even have jokes.
No, it was just us. I was laughing about the situation because I remember doing it, and I remember just laughing hard. Anyway, so yeah, and then we were trying to figure out like how to get it on all the major services. Like he and I both use Spotify, and Spotify is like our go-to. We pay for it. It's I listen to music all the time, and he's a religious music listener.
Well, I listen to music religiously. I'm not a religious music listener.
Whatever.
Well, those are two very different things.
Yeah, I know. I'm an idiot. Stop it.
Smokers laugh.
Oh man,
We don't even smoke.
I went into one of those. I almost went into one of those laughing fits. That would have been fun. Like 20 minutes of Colin just crying on the corner. Yeah, we were just trying to figure out trying to figure out what to use to get it out there, and then it was like, it was really funny because I was like at work and I was on a break, and he's texting me and he was like, "Have you tried this?" I was like, "No, not yet." And he's like, "Oh, I got it to work." And then I literally looked on it and it was right there. And then within 20 minutes, they're like, "And we're live." And I'm like, "Oh,
and we're live."
Okay. And then we were trying to switch, trying to get a Facebook page ready, trying to get we had some album works stuff ready, but
yeah. We had the basic idea of what we wanted. So we didn't have like a focus group.
Yeah, we just jumped into it.
We just really jumped in. We're like, okay, so cool. So this is the album artwork that we want to go with, and this is the feel, and this is the sound, and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
We're keeping all of this.
Okay, hold on. Remind me. I want to tell a story because tonight's podcast is going to be about stories.
Okay. Oh gosh.
Yeah, but so remind me about that little moment.
Okay.
Whatever that was.
Okay.
So we didn't really have a focus group or anything. We just said,
No.
okay, so this is what it's going to be.
Wait. My mom really liked it. Okay.
She liked the...
No, I don't think she ever saw it, but I'm just saying it'd be funny if she did. But I had some people that I showed it and they were like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Yeah. Well, I think it's relatively decent.
Yeah.
Artwork and all that kind of stuff. I think that this is a really great direction for us to go.
Yeah.
Today, I did a little more work on the visual aspect of this because I really think that's what it takes, right?
Yeah.
People don't listen to a podcast first. They see it first.
Right.
So if they can be engaged with the visual, maybe you could actually get them to listen. Right. Which is why in music, the album artwork is so important. Right. Because if somebody sees album artwork and they're disengaged and they don't feel like they can resonate with that, then they're not even going to listen.
Right.
And now you don't even have that shot. So what was it? 2 days ago, Marilyn Manson released a new single.
Yeah.
Called, I think it was like We Are Chaos or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Did you listen to it? I sent it to you.
No, I didn't get a chance to listen to it. No.
So it is insane because it sounds nothing like a Marilyn Manson song.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you take Marilyn Manson vocals and you put it on like a Fall Out Boy record. Like that's what it sounds like.
Interesting.
And it's super weird because it's like acoustic guitar and a bunch of weird stuff. And you're like,
yeah.
I wasn't expecting this. But and especially the album artwork
right.
does not convey that at all.
Yeah.
Like the album artwork is still very scary. Mm-hmm. And it's very much
it was very interesting.
Like
that.
Don't listen to this unless you feel like being scared a little bit. And the song was actually really nice.
Interesting.
So it was
visually appealing.
Visually, that record was visually unappealing, and I wanted our podcast stuff to be visually appealing. Yeah. Which is why I'm like, let's go with a retro look, something that people recognize.
I did like that.
And something that people can feel some sort of nostalgia towards. You know, maybe people will listen to it and then they can judge it after they listen. Right. Because that's the point, right? It's like we just want people to listen. If you don't like it, fine. Yeah. You don't like it. But just give it a shot and let's go from there.
Yeah. I do like it. If you haven't seen what he's talking about, it's actually on our Facebook page. So if you go to Prone to Ponder Facebook page, it's the header and it looks super dope. And
super retro.
It's super retro. You need to throw some like lasers and shit behind it. Exactly. I think we're gonna work on maybe getting like a live not live, but camera shots pulled up someplace. Because I mean, a lot of podcasts nowadays, the ones that I watch, you know, you can watch like clips.
You actually watch them,
right? You watch them, and it adds to it. It adds more to the to like the experience. And I love watching comedian ones like Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, Joe Rogan, all these people. And I remember I love watching it because it's just so funny seeing them like tell stories about like on being on the road or whatever, and just you seeing them audibly laugh. That's my Rick and Morty burp when I talk. But yeah, so thank you everyone that's been watching and all the kind words today that I got at least. We don't do this for money. We do this for fun because this is fun.
Well, and it's also free.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm going to stop the podcast and throw in the quick commercial for Anchor. Tonight, I've got a few different topics.
Okay.
The first one is stories.
Okay.
Right? That we're relatively new into the podcast game. And I thought maybe we could tell some stories to help people get to know us a little better.
I'm legally not allowed to do that.
Well, I did think of one story a few weeks ago. You were telling me this story about your sister and the guitar pick. And I thought, what a great representation of Colin. Yeah. And people could, sort of get to know you a little better through that story, and then maybe I could tell some stories.
No, that doesn't represent me.
Come on. Well, it's a great story. Just tell it. Just tell it. Come on. Let's tell some stories tonight.
So, God, I'm sorry. I have a lot of regret for what I did. So basically, if you don't know, there's a band called All American Rejects, which was, Move Along, Gives You Hell, Dirty Little Secret, like all those songs. And my sister went to I think their farewell show. She got a pick from the guitarist. I don't even know how I found the pick. I think it was sitting on my kitchen table. And I picked it up, and it was attached. Like she had drilled a hole through the pick, like in the corner, to be worn like a necklace. So I wanted the necklace. I guess the chain was super nice. You have to keep all of this. Oh my gosh, the necklace was super nice. I don't even know. It wasn't even that. It was like a half-ass necklace, and I was like, I kind of want the necklace, but there was no bead that I could find to take it off. So I just grabbed some scissors. So I just cut the pick in half and I just took the necklace. And I didn't care. I didn't know how important the pick was because it had their symbol on it, the backwards A's or whatever, or the A's are backwards. But
the backwards A is still an A.
Yeah. So I did that and I was like, I don't know, like a day or two later, she just comes home crying. Like, hey, we cut my pick off. Like, and my mom, like, she got pretty pissed at me, but yeah.
Oh, man.
Do you have any good stories that you want to tell?
Yeah, okay, so I got one. I'm going to replay a clip from the beginning of this podcast when I had a little slip. And here we go right now. And this is the feel, and this is the sound, and all that kind of stuff. Oh, God. So this is when I did that little thing that, is uncontrollable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this was the first date of my love of my life, Taylor.
Oh, good.
We were in Chicago, and it was our first date.
Oh, I think I know this. Okay, yeah.
The day started with a pretty awkward conversation.
Okay.
I went to her house, and I asked her parents, I'm like, can I date your daughter?
Oh, that's weird.
And we're 4 years apart. And that's not...
She's 18, I'm 38.
That's not crazy. Well, that's not 4 years. That's not crazy, but she was 18 at the time.
Yep.
And I was 22 at the time. So it was a little weird. And, I had to ask her parents and everything like that. But, I'm a gentleman, so I asked her parents at least. They said, okay, well, if you want to take our daughter out on a date, whatever, that's fine. And I said, cool. Well, I'm taking her out right now. And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, we're going right now. So we went to the city, and we had our date. We went to like a couple different places. We got some sushi. We went to Chicago Music Exchange. Like, we had the whole thing. We sat at the Buckingham Fountain for like, I don't know, 5 hours. And just
the one that's like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's the one.
Yep.
And we just people watched because there are some pretty interesting characters that go around those parts. We had a great day.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the day, I was walking her back to her dorm because she was going to school downtown. She's like, I don't want this date to end. And I'm like, well, thank goodness. I don't want it to end either. Let's do something else. And she's like, okay, let's go see a movie. I'm like, sounds awesome. So we looked up movies, and the only one that both of us wanted to see was like The Meg. And that was one that was coming out 2 years ago, right?
Giant shark, yeah.
Yeah. Jason Statham movie.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, we could both see that.
Yeah.
So we walk like 2.5 miles to the movie theater, and we get there, and the ticket person's like, it's 3D movie only. And we're like,
yeah, it's like $85 a ticket.
I don't really want to see a 3D movie about the Meg with Jason Statham.
It's not worth
it.
Yeah.
Let me save that for the next Avatar movie that comes out, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, what else do you got? And they're like, well, the only other movie that we're showing right now is The Nun, which was like the triple sequel to
The Conjuring.
The Conjuring, universe movies. So we're like, all right, whatever. Let's go see that. So we went to go see that movie. And the only way that we can get through, speaking for myself, I'm not totally sure about her, but for me, the only way I could get through a scary movie, and you know this because you've lived with me for so long, is I need to constantly laugh and be undermining the horror that is actually happening in a movie. And, to be fair, that movie isn't really scary.
Right.
But there are some moments where, it's pretty quiet, and you could definitely reach over to the person next to you and, whisper a little joke in their ear.
Yeah.
And you could both laugh and move past that. So this was one of the moments that was happening. It is the climax of the movie. The nun is about to kill everybody. And the score goes completely silent. Nobody's talking. And Taylor thinks of the perfect joke. Taylor leans over and whispers in my ear, what if burp noise that you can't control, that sort of just like happens, that there's nothing you could do about it, comes out of her mouth directly into my ear. This is our first date.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've ever been alone together. Ever.
Yeah.
And that little burp comes out of her mouth. Oh my gosh. It was ridiculous.
Jeez.
To this day, every time I hear that little noise that you cannot control, that's exactly what I think of. That's exactly what I think of.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I do have a funny date story, but I'll share for a different time. But I do remember a funny story that we did. I would say it was a double date that we did back in, you were still in high school, and I was a freshman quotations, in college.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So we were at her house, and her dad had made barbecue stuff, and we were in the basement, and like the basement was like the house was kind of like a split level house. So you go up the stairs, and you immediately turn left and go back up the stairs to go like up to the next level.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember.
And we were in the basement, and you and I, we'd been.
How long ago was this?
Oh my gosh, 2014. So 6 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
That was a while ago, because you were dating.
Yep.
Her. And that's a story for a different day. So I go up the stairs. I was last, so the girls went up first, and I go behind you, and I don't know what happened, but you turned left and went to step on a stair, and you just immediately hit the wall with your face, and you just went poof, and I was like, what the hell just happened?
Wait, what were those sound effects again?
Like boom, like stuff like that, and I was like, how? And I like bust out into tears, because it didn't make any sense how your face collided with the wall. Yeah. Because you just was like, and you just nailed the wall, and you're like, I'm good, what's up? I'm like, what? We're not going to talk about how you just smashed your face into the pole?
I blacked out for like 6 seconds.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And then we just like smacked a whole bunch of barbecue. It was awesome.
Yeah, super good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay,
No, I have one more story.
Okay, let me hear it.
So this was right when I would say we had no business doing this. That's
the story of our life, right? It's like this podcast.
I'm gonna get that
That's what we should have named it.
Yeah.
We should have named this podcast. We have no business doing this.
Yeah, that'd be the ending of our segments. We have a third to our trio, and his name is Nick. We mentioned him at the beginning of this podcast. And Nick had a house in a town in the suburbs of Chicago. And behind, or actually in front of the house, like across the street, there was a cornfield. And I remember I was 16 because I drove to the house. Keep in mind, 16. These two idiots were 15, and he calls me up and goes,
let's go vandalize some shit.
Yeah.
And we had never done anything illegal in our life.
Yeah. And legally speaking, we did not vandalize anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I get a call, and I show up in a red flannel and cargo pants, and he goes, you were supposed to dress to go through a field, and I'm like, sorry, I didn't have my camo. So Nick, who is 5'2" on a good day, gives me his small-ass camo pants that were like capris on me, and a sweatshirt. I think that was yours.
Yep.
And so we go trekking through this cornfield to like all stealth-like, trying to be cool. Again, we're 16 years old. We have no business doing this. So on the side of the cornfield was a bunch of houses. So Chris and I were walking by the fence, and we found a clearing between the fence, and it was a house and then another fence. Nick was in the cornfield, so like right next to us. So Chris and I are at the corner of this fence, and we look inside the house, and there's a woman in the house, like just like hanging something.
She's like putting up new drapes or
right.
something.
She's putting,
like
it's like 10:30 at night. Like, again, no business out there. So, and there's like a floodlight pointed out the field.
Yep.
We're like, all right, ready, set, go. And as we go, we run across. You could clearly see us. Like, we were not hiding at all. So Chris and I hear a dog bark, and I remember just running even farther. So
and both of us are asthmatic.
Yeah, so we were like, like taking
the
a
two
puff.
asthmatic guys like sharing each other's inhaler. We're like, oh my gosh, we almost died.
So then that field ended, and then we go into a soybean field, and
you gotta leap through those.
Yeah, you gotta leap, like high jump, man, and like and we're pretty tall. I mean, we're both 6'2". So at the time, we're probably like a little shorter, but we're hopping through these fields, and Nick is gone. We have no idea where Nick is. We keep going, and every like 5 or 10 minutes, we'd stop and turn around and like yell Nick's name, like to see maybe if he was like right behind us.
It was a, all right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Nick!
Yeah, like we did it a lot. And our first thought is to keep going, not to turn around, but to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So we get through this field, and it's probably like half a mile big, if not a mile. Like, it was big. So we get to this 2-lane road, and the billboard's on the other side. Again, we were committed. I had no idea what we were doing. So Chris runs across the street and dives into a bush. Little did he know, it was a fucking thorn bush. And I almost peed my pants laughing.
It's not my proudest moment.
Oh, it was so funny. And you're like, ow, ow, it was so funny.
For 30 minutes after that, Colin was picking thorns out of my ass.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. I don't remember ever writing our names on the board. I don't think we did.
We did with Sharpie.
Right, Sharpie on a black.
We didn't use a, you'd think, some vandal's going to use some spray paint or something like that. But we're like, no, let's just bring
Sharpie it up.
The thickest Sharpie that we could find, which wasn't even the thickest one that's on the market.
No.
It was like one of those thin point Sharpie markers, and we're just like, wrote our names on a, freaking train car.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah, that was a silly time. And then we got back, and we realized that Nick had been home the whole time.
We were gone for like an hour.
Getting yelled at by his mom.
Yeah, saying she'd call the cops on
because
us.
she would call the cops and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, gosh. And Colin, like, we went inside. We opened the door, and we heard, I would call the cops. And we shut the door.
Yeah.
And we walked back to our cars. And I'm like, Colin, take me home.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No business doing that. I have one more story, and I just remember this. This is a request that I saw. So a friend of mine put on her Instagram story like she wanted to hear more about the ghost hunting. So this is where my girlfriend can tune out or dump me. You can choose. But when I was in, oh my gosh, I could drive. So it probably was like a junior, sophomore year of high school. Me and some friends went to Munger Road in St. Charles.
Mm-hmm.
And Munger Road, like, if you don't know anything about it, it's basically like a haunted road, quotations, but I guess it was kind of debunked. So we tried to figure out, like, the haunted things, like, park your car on the train tracks, gets pushed off, like, stuff like that. We never figured anything out. And at this time, I'm, like, super into ghosts. I'm like, I'm going to film it. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it. So I was like, genius idea. Let's go in the forest right next to it, which is probably like 100 acres or 1,000 acres. It was huge, huge. Like, you couldn't see 10 feet in front of you because it was that pitch black. So we go into the forest, and we are walking and walking and walking. And my buddy, one of them just like starts getting like vomitedly sick. And we're like, and my other friend was like, you know what?
He's getting what?
Like, vomitedly sick. You heard me.
Vomitedly?
He's vomiting.
Okay.
So my friend was like, I'm going to take him back. And I was like, all right, cool. So I was like, I'm going to keep walking because I want to see something. Like, I was like ready.
Sure.
So I started walking maybe like 20, 30 minutes later. Like, maybe I was like maybe a mile or two down the road. I walk slow. It was like fall time-ish, I think. There was a lot of leaves on the ground. So as you walked, you hear crunch, 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 crunch.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
So behind me.
Behind you.
I kept hearing like crunch, crunch.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
So as I would go crunch, crunch, it'd be like,
crunch, 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 crunch.
Yeah, can you do that for me?
Yeah.
So I go crunch, crunch, crunch.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
So it was like really faint.
Yeah.
So I stopped and I was like, I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. That was pretty good. I like that. We should get like a soundboard next time. Like, crunch, 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 crunch. Glow. Bazinga. So I was like, I'm going to stop and I'm going to listen. And I closed my eyes and I kept hearing
crunch, 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 crunch.
And then
crunch, crunch, crunch,
all around me.
Oh, no.
And then I hear in my ear, nothing's there. I turn and run. Gone. Absolutely gone. I think I cleared, what did I say, like 9-minute mile in 4 seconds? I don't know. I got back to the car like super fast. And never went again.
Well, did you ever think that maybe it was just a 6-foot-tall squirrel?
No.
So what would that look like? Would that look like a 6-foot-tall squirrel? Did you ever think maybe it could have been like an animal?
It probably was, but I didn't have the chance to look.
You were gone.
My pants, literally. I was gone. Yeah, but I didn't do much after that.
Do you have any other paranormal
No, that was like
experiences?
Other than like little things, like feelings and stuff. No, nothing really too crazy.
We should have our other friend on some other time to talk about some of the paranormal stuff that he's experienced. He has told me
Yeah.
That he has had some paranormal experiences.
Well, we'll bring him on and see. I mean, we could talk to him about literally so many things.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I would love to, pick his brain on this podcast about so many.
Yeah, definitely.
Different things, but that's a podcast that's much longer than 30 minutes or whatever one's going to be.
That's the limit we're doing right now.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully the listener has gotten
enough burps to last a lifetime. Good grief. I'm never pouring you a damn Hams ever again.
Oh, so sorry.
Brought to you by Hams.
Okay. What is that with 2 M's? All right, moving forward.
What is it with 2 M's?
Okay, so hopefully the listener, between the last episode and this one, has gotten enough information to learn a little bit about you and a little bit about me. And now they could go forward in this, podcast adventure, and we can all, get to know each other a little bit better.
And I'm sure we'll share more stories down the road.
Oh, definitely.
We've got plenty.
Definitely. But, I'm thinking forward.
Yep.
Next week, I asked today on social media and everything like that, I'm like, okay, what is something that the normal listener might want to hear a little more about?
Okay.
Whether that be topics or questions that they have for us or, anything like that. And I had one listener comment saying, movies. Oh. And the movies that we both enjoy, because we're both movie buffs.
Yeah.
We pride ourselves in that. That's something that they would love to hear more about. They also said...
Was it your mom? Thanks, Monica.
How did you know?
Was it?
It was my mom.
Because your mom's your biggest fan.
She's my biggest fan. I love you, Mom.
She's the best.
Ma with an H. M-A-H. Ma. Yes. So you've debunked it, Colin.
Yeah. You kept saying listener. I'm like, it's his mom. I freaking knew it.
So movies that both of us are into right now, movies that we both have appreciated in the past.
Okay.
Something that was actually pretty good that was brought up is what makes a good rom-com.
Okay.
And what makes a good drama.
Okay.
You have 2 different genres, but within them you have 1,000 different types of movies.
Right.
So that's something. And then another thing that we might be willing to talk about in the future is food.
Oh.
Especially during COVID and the quarantine.
Because I'm fat and you're fat. It's all good.
Yeah, we're both fat here.
Yeah.
And if you don't know us, or if you do know us, we're fat now.
Yeah. Well, Chris likes to eat. Chris likes to make food, and I like to eat food. So.
Well, I'd like to eat the food that I make as well, but
it's pretty damn good.
That's only if I could get to it before Colin does.
Party on. It's because I like to party.
It's because I like to party.
It's been my go-to. Like, I like to drink water because I like to party.
Yeah. Well,
I'm so slap happy, man.
Dude, this might be too late to record a podcast.
I don't know why we're like, let's record a podcast at 9:30 at night. But this is when the real things come out.
Yeah. Okay. So you let us know if this is the podcast that you enjoyed.
Yeah.
You better comment.
Maybe
if you don't like the podcast, comment that you don't like the podcast.
Yeah.
But if you've gotten this far, you've listened to it.
Yeah.
So that's something, and that's something that most people probably.
There's 7 B's in that word. Probably.
It's something that most people probably haven't done.
Yeah.
So, you're up on the game there.
I think what we're gonna do, because we both have social media, and our Instagrams are, his is Christopher.Mars with a Z and an S, and mine is Captain Cowbell. So if you ever want to reach out to us on there, I think I'm going to do a poll next week, or like a ask me something, and see what everybody's topics will be.
I'll take your poll.
What
movie? If anyone could guess and put it in the comments.
Contest.
Contest.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Oh well, we kind of can.
We can do that. We'll do trivia. Let's do trivia.
All right, trivia question this week. If anyone could guess what this is from, I'll take your poll. pole.
I got to find the entry point.
That's a hint.
That's a hint.
And
it's not your favorite porno, okay?
And put it in the comments. Then we will give you a free shout out in the next podcast.
We'll give you a free, absolutely no commitment shout out. And maybe dinner. Or if you can figure it out, there's a chance you could get on the podcast.
Hey, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So what's the comment the contest again? I'll take your poll.
You got to find the entry point.
There you go. Because we got a candle that's burning bright. And it's shining all over the place.
Uh-huh.
Colin's looking across the room from me. He's got one eyebrow way higher than the other one.
We really got to put video behind all this, man.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to paint a picture.
Okay.
All right.
You're very good at it.
Yeah.
I'm inspired.
You got anything else?
No. Well, thank you for listening to all 14 of you. We really enjoy it. Thank you for the feedback. Don't be afraid to be mean to Christopher, not me. I cry.
Don't be afraid to be mean. Dude, that's a podcast name.
Don't be afraid to be mean.
Don't be afraid to be mean. Let's just end every podcast with that.
Yeah, like how Ellen DeGeneres, like, be happy to each other. And guys, don't forget to be mean.
Don't be afraid to be mean. Amen. Here we go. All right, everybody.
Don't be afraid to be an asshole.
I hope y'all have a great night. Good night, everybody.
Bye.